Welcome back to our exciting series on EMFs. What are they? Are they safe? How much do we get exposed to? And what can we do about it? So far we've looked at some measurements on a hike to the hills to see how strong those cell phone towers are and those power lines. We've also looked at the EMF meter that we've been using, see the link below. We looked at what many parts of the world do to limit EMFs, and today we're going to be looking at how strong are those EMF/cell phone signals coming from your phone and your router. In one of my previous posts, I briefly mentioned that the experts recommend that our EMF exposure be no higher than 50 millivolts. As you may have seen, that can be difficult to achieve in today's modern world, an infinitely connected world. But it is possible. So here's what I did today. I took my router and measured the EMF signal at various lengths with the tape measure. Let's take a look at what the graph looks like. When the meter was touching the antenna, I got a reading of approximately 20 volts per meter. Compared to the reading I got standing next to a cell phone tower, it's even stronger than the cell phone tower, which gave a reading anywhere from 10 to 12 volts per meter. The difference is how strong the signal remains as the distance increases. As the distance increased, the strength of the signal quickly dropped, quite exponentially, in fact. But once I got to a certain distance and took it all around the house and through the walls, the signal was about the same. I couldn't get it any lower than 500 millivolts anywhere in my house. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to hardwire everything in the house that I possibly can. I'm just not comfortable with me or my family being exposed to those high levels, particularly upstairs where the router is. So on to the next test. First, I compared the signal from an iPhone 6 to an iPhone 8 Plus. The difference was staggering. Technology, I guess. So with both iPhones in sleep or standby mode, on the iPhone 6 I got a reading of approximately 900 millivolts. With the iPhone 8 Plus, I was getting a reading of approximately 6 volts per meter. That's about 6 times more powerful than the iPhone 6. And keep in mind that these readings are with the Wi-Fi off, so they're not interfering with the reading. Now, an interesting thing that I noticed that was happening is whenever I woke up the phone or opened a new app or a new page or changed something on my phone, there was instantly a giant spike in the EMF levels. On average, on the iPhone 8 Plus, they would spike to 14 to 15 volts per meter. So here are the results of the EMS distance test with the iPhone 8 Plus. While I was doing this, I had a YouTube video streaming in order to maintain a signal coming to the phone. Although when I refreshed to a new video, I would get an initial spike again. So take a look at the baseline, which was about 6 volts per meter, with the meter right next to the phone. As I took measurements, the strength drastically decreased, dropping to approximately 800 millivolts at 1 foot, 250 at 2 feet, and approximately 50 millivolts at 5 feet. That's huge. Now remember, I'm not an expert on this. This was just me with the cell phone. I laid out the tape measure and I had the meter at all different stages. So there's a lot of different things that can go into this, as far as how active is the phone, what apps you're using, how much it's streaming, the data coming in, do you have your Wi-Fi going? There's a lot of different things going on here. The moral of the story is that routers and cell phones are basically the same thing as a cell phone tower, except we're attached to them. The good news is that if we move away from them, easier said than done, the possible damaging effects is drastically reduced. Drastically reduced. So get away from your cell phone and your router and your printers and your computers and yeah. So I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Dr. Craig's Soapbox Rantings. Hopefully you're at least a little bit scared. I know I am. Stay tuned for more and subscribe to my channel. Follow the link in the description to download a free PDF of the graphs and the readings described in this video. Next up in the series is a product review and simple things you can do to decrease your exposure. P.S. Bonus footage. Okay, not really footage, but info. For those of us that don't like microwaves, yes, I tested that too. Here is another reason to use it as little as possible. So with our newer microwave running and holding the meter about 6 inches away, I was too scared to get closer, I got a reading of 25 volts per meter. As I ran away from the microwave at about 6 to 7 feet, I was still getting 3 volts per meter.